first of all, in terms of influence, I'd say as a writer, I'd say my main influences as a songwriter are Shakespeare. I just love Shakespeare. It's like in love with language. It's like bebop, but it's language. It's amazing. Shakespeare, Bob Dylan. I think Bob Dylan influenced us all of us, tremendously. He gave us permission to write really big, profound lyrics and not just try to write catchy tunes, you know. And I've also been very influenced by poets, like Ezra Pound's translation of Chinese poets was a big influence on me, and also any of the old Chinese poets. It's just a kind of an evocation of what you can call, in Portuguese, saudade, like nostalgia and romance, but not sad, not depression, just poetic sadness. So I'd say those were my most biggest influences as a writer, as a songwriter. As a singer, I'd say Van Morrison was a really big influence on me because of his phrasing, the way he grooved around and never made anything the same way twice, and was so fresh. And Billie Holiday, who I listened to as a kid incessantly over and over and over and over again, her phrasing. Okay, there were some other singers like Carolyn Hester, who was an influence on me, but also all the blues people. For a long time, I was a blues girl, you know, and it didn't matter if it was a male song like I Just Want to Make Love to You by Muddy Waters or a female song. So that was really influential in how I sang, was that phrasing. I never was a jazz singer, but I also was influenced a lot simultaneously by Celtic music. So my voice being actually very pretty and good with straight tones, you know, even though there's a little raspiness with the blues, it's really a kind of a pretty voice that worked well with Irish and Scottish ballads. And I also learned some of these really endlessly long ballads at the time. And then, you know, when I was young, I was playing a lot of other people's music, and then I just started writing a lot of songs and singing my own music. And I was going to college at the University of Oregon, and I was driving every weekend up to Portland from Eugene to a place called the Folk Singer. And mind you, I was young. I was skipped twice in school, so I was only 16 when I graduated. So I was already in college, like the youngest person there, and developmentally probably pretty immature. So I would go to the Folk Singer, and sing, sit in, and then at midnight they would have a jam session with all these jazz musicians. And I got to know all these jazz musicians, and that was my first boyfriends. And they were all drug addicts. Because it was a time when jazz musicians thought to be authentic they had to be drug addicts, right? So that was my first gigs, was at the Folk Singer.